Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Woodbrew video. My name is Dylan. If you're brand new to the channel, welcome. My wife Molly and I have actually been building a teardrop camper from scratch over the last several months. We have like 17 videos about the camper build series. So if this is one of your first videos watching our channel, I highly recommend you watch this entire series from start to end because it's been a really awesome series. But earlier this week, we received in the mail something that we've been dreaming of owning for a very long time. Now this tool has been on Molly and I's bucket list for quite a long time, and it is a CO2 laser engraver. Now a while back, xTool reached out to us and asked us if we wanted to try out their P2 desktop version of a CO2 laser engraver, and of course we said yes because we've wanted one for quite a long time. Now this particular laser has a 12 by 24 build area and an unbelievable amount of features that really just don't exist in any sort of lasers in this price point. So in today's video, we're going to be testing this thing out and working on the windows for our teardrop camper. Now obviously Molly and I have never used one of these, so one of the first things we wanted to do this week was get started with some really basic projects. And one of the really great things about a machine like this is you can go online and purchase and or find files for free really easily. So we picked out a handful of projects we thought would be fun and just started messing around with the laser and cutting things out. One of the first things we did was just type out Woodbrew and threw in a piece of 1/4 inch plywood and hit go on both an engraving pass as well as a cut through path. And this got us really excited because getting this sort of crispy lines and lettering is pretty much impossible with anything else other than a laser. It is truly an incredible thing to see how nice and crisp that came out, and this had us excited to try out some more things. So Anissa's birthday is coming up, and so I figured I should cut something out for her. So I just searched free laser plans online and was able to find a whole bunch of stuff to go through, but we settled on this really cool box that is fully cut on the laser. It has all box joints and it even has a hinge built in that's cut with the laser. It's just crazy to wrap your head around that. The thing just snaps together. It's got her name engraved on the top and a happy birthday message on the bottom. It's really cool, and this is gonna be a nice little place to put either her gift in or some of her jewelry, whatever she wants to put in there. But it's just really cool to see that with just a very simple free file, you can spit something out like this that's just a really interesting product that has, you know, a lot of questions. You know, it's a conversation starter. So really cool to get this out right away, you know, like to just hit go and then have a product basically pop out right afterwards. I had the idea to use some recycled cardboard. This obviously came from a Bagel Bites box here, but this stuff is really great. It's nice and thick cardstock, and why not use it for something? So I decided to cut out a business card. Now look how cool that is. It's got everything engraved in it, and it's coming from a recycled product. It's a conversation starter again, and it's super simple and easy to batch out as many of these as you need because once you have the file, you just hit start and it cuts it out for you. Now it also has it cut through just the Woodbrew logo, and to get something like this made for yourself would be very expensive. And this is just such an interesting way to use a laser to further your business with the laser, if that's what your intentions are. But I thought that was a really neat way to use this, and it turned out really awesome. I'm going to refine my design and create a whole bunch of these.
We got the laser all set up and dialed in. Now it's time to cut our windows.
Now with some confidence built up, we moved on to working on the windows for the camper, as you can see right here. Now windows for campers are super expensive, and we wanted to do sort of a porthole style window in the kids' bunk area, just as a really neat feature and a way for them to be able to see out. And this was a very inexpensive way of doing it. Now, what the crazy thing is that when you buy one of these machines, they send you a whole sample pack of materials, and there was just enough of this acrylic to go ahead and cut out both windows for our campers, so that worked out perfectly. Now this was super easy to make. I chose to use Adobe Illustrator to create the file just because I'm comfortable with it, and once I had it created in there, I went ahead and exported it as an SVG and then imported it into xTool software. Now one of the great things about xTool software is they have a lot of presets for materials, especially the materials that you can get directly from them. So I went ahead and used their settings so I didn't have to do any guesswork, selected the 3mm acrylic that they have that comes with the machine, and all my settings were set up from there. All I had to do was import, again, my graphic, and then I selected it and said what I wanted to cut versus score. Now notice I didn't say engrave. This is one of the really interesting things that I found about their software in this machine. Because a lot of these acrylic products come with that paper on it, you can actually do an extremely light pass that just cuts through that paper called a score cut, and I was able to use that in order to make a ring around this window that I could then peel off, and I'd have a pre-made masked out window so that when I went to paint it, it was super simple. Now I can see so many use cases for this score feature, and so I'm excited to use that again in the future. But once we had it cut out, all we had to do was peel off that outer layer, throw it in a box, and spray paint a black ring around the outside. This is going to hide the silicone that goes behind it, as well as give it that sort of traditional look of a camper window with that black bezel. Once the paint was completely dry, I went ahead and added just a little bit of silicone around the back side of that ring, actually on the paint, so the paint is against the camper. It's not on the outside. And then I just used some stainless steel screws to screw it into the side of the camper, and then I just followed up with adding a little bit of silicone around the outside to further waterproof it. Not sure if that was necessary, but I decided to in the end do that, and I think it's going to be fully watertight. Now this is just a super simple way to add in a what would have been expensive window to this camper, and just a really cool way that gives me a lot of ideas for how to implement this into future projects. I never really thought about this until I needed it, but now it's got me excited about other ways that I could use this. I actually saw a comment on the last video saying, don't forget the license plate. And I'm glad you said that, because part of me did sort of forget about the license plate on this camper. And for that reason, we went ahead and used the laser to cut out this simple license plate mount. Went ahead and added in our logo, as well as sort of our mantra for Woodbrew, which is Eat, Sleep, Make, Explore, if you didn't know that already. And yeah, we just cut this out. It was super simple. I'd again designed it in Adobe Illustrator, and then I did something that I've never done before, and I actually just laser engraved the negative of the logo so that it kept the letters nice and raised. That was pretty simple to do, and I think it gives a really interesting effect. So obviously I got my mounting holes here already cut for a license plate, and we're going to end up attaching this on here, just like that. And then the license plate will obviously be able to mount onto that. It'll give us some good branding on the back of this, and it'll just be sort of a cool conversations piece. But we have to finish putting on all of our layers finished. So first thing we did was add in some penetrating epoxy, which is now dry, but I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add a handful more layers of epoxy and or varnish. I haven't quite decided, but this is going to be really cool, and you'll see it being put on in next week's video. Again, it's just going to go right here, and then we should be able to just simply mount our license plate on it once we get it for the camper. So here's the finished window on the camper, and I think it looks really great. It's also quite strong, and it should resist weathering and yellowing quite well based on the material that we used. And I think it's going to be a really interesting focal point of this camper, and hopefully we can use this again on another build when we build ourselves a camper, Miss Molly. So yeah, I really am very happy with the way this turned out. So if you are building something like this and you decide you want to put some windows in it, I recommend trying something out like this, because I think this turned out super cool and it was really inexpensive.
And it looks professional.
Yeah, really.
Like it looks legit.
Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. Now, as far as the xTool P2 goes, there's obviously a lot of content and videos already out about this, talking about all the specifics and really cool features that this has to offer. But I'm not a laser guru, so I'm going to leave that up to the professionals, and I'm just going to tell you a handful of reasons why I really like this machine as someone who's just getting into lasers, and as someone who would like to make money with this. You know, this isn't a hobby machine for us. We are going to be trying to make some money with it. So here's a handful of reasons why I like it a lot. Reason number one, this came fully assembled. No parts were needed to be added. All you had to do was fill up a reservoir with some coolant, and that was it. Plug and play, ready to go. That can't be said for any other laser we've ever had, any of the diode lasers we've ever had, and it can't be said for pretty much any of the other tools in this type of category, 3D printers and things that we've ever owned. Having this thing show up and be ready to go, already calibrated, was unbelievably nice. I can't emphasize that enough. Reason number 2 is there's actually 2 cameras in this. Yes, cameras. So it has one overhead camera here in the back and then one close-up camera here on the laser module. What that means is that when you're in xTool software, you can place your material down, get a capture of the bed, and simply move your design and graphic around to the piece exactly where you want it, hit start, and it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be in the exact spot that you saw it on the camera, which is a huge game changer, because unless you're someone who's experienced with this type of thing and you've got experience creating fixtures and jigs to make everything get aligned perfectly, it's gonna be difficult to get things square and nice and even. That is all out of the table with this machine. Being able to see exactly where it's gonna go before you cut is a game changer. It's super nice, especially for shapes and different things you want to engrave that aren't necessarily super simple to put, say, in a square vise. So having that capability is extremely nice on something like this. Reason number 3 is in the same vein as the cameras. This has an automatic measuring system. So with any of the other diode laser engravers that we've used, we've had to manually set up the distance of the laser head to the material surface. That's not really that difficult to do, but it is tricky in certain instances because of the way objects are shaped and different things like that. So it is a bit more of a step to do, as well as it can be tricky in certain situations. This has, I believe, IR sensors, I'm not sure, but it has a small laser diode that comes in from the sideways this way, measures the thickness of your material to give you a general material thickness. Or what's even cooler is that in their software, you can select a location on the material you're cutting, and it will go over to it and measure the thickness so it knows exactly how far to let the laser head down. Because yes, this laser head goes up and down on its own. There is no manual adjustment there, which means that if you were doing a dished out sort of tray thing, you could simply tell it in the software to go to the center. With a click of a button, it would measure the thickness and it would know how far it needs to go down into that tray in order to start engraving. Reason number 4, and this isn't just for this particular xTool, but the fact that this is a CO2 laser and this sort of form factor, nice and small, is really great. Diode lasers have their place, absolutely, and they will do so much for you, and they are typically significantly less expensive than a machine like this. However, one thing you can't do with a diode laser very easily or efficiently, if you're trying to sell things, is cut through thick materials. Now this is 1/2" plywood right here. I think this is birch plywood. 1/2", maybe it's pine plywood. Either way, it's 1/2" plywood cut through on one pass, which is absolutely remarkable. This is a coaster we made, and being able to cut through really thick material is a game changer, because what that means is that 9 times out of 10 when you're cutting through like 1/4" or 1/8", you can do it super fast, right? It's not that you can cut through thick material all the time, and that's, you know, that's not usually what people are using this machine for. But what it means is that when you're cutting through everyday materials that you normally use, you can do it super quickly. Now the final reason number 5 of why I like this machine is because it's fully enclosed and it has its own exhaust system. If you've ever used an open area diode laser, it is stinky and hard to get that sort of exhaust smoke out. We have an air conditioned space in our shop, so we can't just like open up all the doors all the time, and even when we do that, it was difficult with our diode lasers to get all of that stuff exhausted out. With this, super simple. You close this lid, it has its own built-in fan with its own exhaust port. You can just put that out a window or out through a hole in the wall that you create. Whatever way you want to do it, you can very easily get all of that smoke smell and smoke out, which is super important, because if you're using this a lot frequently, which is how we hope to use it, you really you really sort of just need that. So having that feature just automatically built in on this machine is really nice. Now, obviously, a lot of CO2 machines, or a majority of them, have that. But I'm just saying that one of the reasons why I like going up to a CO2 desktop is having that automatically built in. Now, there are also all sorts of other crazy features that I recommend you checking out if you're interested in getting one of these types of machines. For instance, this thing can go on a riser base, which gives you a lot higher work area. It's got a rotary tool attachment. It's got this crazy conveyor belt that lets you send stuff through the middle and do basically infinitely long boards. It's got all sorts of crazy features, but I just wanted to share with you guys the basics of the reasons why I really like this machine and the way that I would actually use it. Now, like I said at the beginning of this, I am a complete novice when it comes to these laser cutters and engravers. So if you have any tips, please leave a comment down below, because it's something that we want to really start incorporating into our business model and figuring out, ways to be super efficient. So if you have any good tips of where to get files, how to create them, any other software, or just things in general about how to use a laser engraver, leave a comment down below. I'd be super interested in reading those. And then I just wanted to say thank you to xTool for sending us this machine. They did not pay us to make this video or anything. We did get the machine in exchange for a video, just to be fully transparent. But yeah, I've been genuinely impressed with this machine with the limited experience I have with laser engravers. But I will leave links in the description below where you can check out this machine if you're interested, as well as some other resources of other YouTubers that I really like, that I feel are far more educated in the laser world and can give you far better advice on this machine and other machines that you may be interested in, because I've seen some really great reviews recently of this machine, and it's got me really excited for how we can use this in our shop. So yeah, thanks again xTool for sending this over, and let's check out the camper. I'm sorry that this video has been a whole lot of talking, but Mom and I have been really busy in the background, and this camper is just one video away from being completed. So you're getting 2 videos this week because we're excited to wrap up this project. Literally all we have left. Literally all we have left. Finalize the wiring. Okay, right? That's it back here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Add our license plate cover, which is pretty much done. We got these installed, which is nice. And then the last thing we have to do is just add in some sort of strip here and maybe touch up a few things, right? That's pretty much it. We're gonna be testing this thing out maybe by the weekend, which is wild. Or early next week. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you're enjoying this series. And next week, well, actually this Sunday for you guys, this video is coming out early for you. This Sunday, hopefully, you will see this thing riding down the road, which is wild. Long time coming. Thanks so much for sticking around with us. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.